lesson, I've introduced CSS to you and show the amazing styling that it can do when we put a style attribute into a HTML tag. These are called inline CSS. They are great, but they turn very messy after you code for a while. Then I've showed you we can actually put this style tag into the head tag on top of the document, so our styling look much neater and manageable. This is called internal CSS. So in this lesson, I'm going to build a web page based on our same Casablanca Florist and Cafe design, but with a slight tweak to it using the CSS way, so we can learn a few new things. Let's dive in. I'll show you how to code this using HTML without a single code of CSS. I take this design and then tweak it a little bit into this. I've actually changed the header a little bit and put it like that so that we can actually code this thing in CSS and so that you can use it for your future project. I'm going to show you how to do this part, and then this part I simply turn it into a big image, but I want to show you how to place this H1 tag down here, and then followed by the next session I've actually changed a bit of fonts, and this font is actually a web font, so I'm going to show you how to use a web font. And this thing, how do we actually do it in CSS, and I introduce a new section that looks something like that. We'll only use this picture as an image. The rest of the stuff are actually CSS component called div, D-I-V, which I'll start soon. And the footer is actually something similar of what we had in the last lesson. I've actually exported all these images out, which is the same way as what my previous lesson showed you. So I'm not going to repeat this here. It's already inside a folder, all named properly. I have this hero image, I have the 3 social media buttons, and I have the image which I showed you below here, the part that I'm going to show you how to do it. And I have the logo. I actually shrink down so that it fits into our new navi. And then the 3 services picture slightly resized a bit. So I've got this ready. I'm going to switch over to this. I just started a new document. As you can see, it's blank. Since I already showed you how to do this, so I'm not going to repeat this part. In CSS, it's actually very common to piece together a web page using blocks. So in these blocks, and I actually highlighted with this red box, you can see that this is actually one block, this is the second block, this is the third block, and then fourth block, and so on. So this block are actually called div, D-I-V. I don't know what it stands for, maybe division or something. Then inside each box, you can actually have smaller box, which we'll use to house individual elements. For example, this element is our logo, and the right side, this element is the navi. So each of these box is actually div tag that you can actually use it to place onto a bigger box. So I'm going to show you how to do that. For this one, we're going to do it slightly differently from the table. Instead of using 3 columns times 5 rows, I'm just going to use div to do this part and show you how to do this. It's actually just 3 boxes, but each boxes actually have the same formatting, just that the content is different. And for this part, I'll show you how to actually put them on top of another. All these are actually div boxes stacking on top of one another. And in CSS, that's the beauty of it, why we want to use CSS to do such thing. Okay, back to the top. The first thing we want to create is actually this banner. It will consist of one big box, one big div, and then with this logo on top, left, and then with another box which house all this navigation on top. Let's build that in HTML. The first step of CSS is actually to build the HTML component first. So I'll start with a div. I'm going to give it a name straight away so that it's easier to manage. There's 2 ways to name the name. One is called class, another one is called ID. I'm simply going to use class for you. So this is, I'm just going to call it head box. That's how you set up a box. Simple. Okay. Then after that, we're going to simply place in stuff first. I know that the background we're going to handle in CSS. Then one box which actually holding on to this image. Another box is actually on the right side, which is the navi. So the one on the left, which is the logo box, and I'm simply gonna put in the logo. Slash logo, and then followed by the next box, which is the navi box. Inside the navi box, there are just links, Okay, and I'm gonna link to nowhere first, and let me see what it is. Home, about us, products, events, contact us. Home, about us, events, products, contact us. Homes, about us, products, events, followed by contact us. Alright, so that's our box. So we can see without any CSS. Let's have a preview. Let's drag this HTML into here. So that is how it is. We want to put in the CSS part, which is we should actually put it after the title tag inside this head tag on top of the document. Okay, and simply put style here. That will be where we actually want to put in all our CSS. This is actually internal CSS, which means that the CSS is put within the document. Head box, the div head box, we can, instead of putting this div dot head box, we can simply just skip the div and simply put head box. And display is actually block, which means it's going to take up one whole line. And I'm going to turn on the border so that you can see it. I'm simply going to use a red. So save and refresh. That's how the box is. I think it's a good idea that I'm going to set the width equals to 960. We know that we're going to fix to 960 no matter what. And then the background color, which is the color that I'm going to pick from this. So that is our head box. And then what about, let's have a preview. Okay, what about this? Now let's separate them out. Next thing is logo box. Okay, I'm simply going to turn on this border so that we can see it. And let's just turn on the border first for the box so we can see all of them. Navi box. So that's how they look, one after another. So for them to appear side by side, okay, is actually this attribute called display. Instead of block, I'm going to put inline block so that they appear one next to another. So that's how you place them together. But at the same time, we want to set the width for them. So that we have to come back to this. So the width for this image box is actually very small, doesn't matter. I think from the left is about 50 pixels. Let me just do a quick measurement. You can actually do that in Illustrator and then they'll show you the width. So it's about 49, so I'm just going to drop a 50 so that it round out the number. So from the top is about 10. Alright, how about the whole thing? How big is this thing? Is 480, no it's not 480, it's 100 pixel height. Okay, now we know that we can actually fix the height and for the navi box. So the navi box, let's go back this and then fix the height for 100 pixel. Okay, there's a spelling mistake here. The next thing to style is actually this. Okay, I want to put in the right color. Probably the font I'll leave it for later. Then maybe the width of this first, which gonna take out is actually about 515. Okay, let's put this as 515. And to bring it to the right side, I have to use this thing called float right. And it's going to be on the right side, and then inside the box the text should be aligned right. So text align right. So the text is now aligned right. Now I'm going to push this thing down using margin. Margin top. Right, maybe 50 pixels down. No, that's too much. So maybe 40. 35. Alright, that should do. That should be around the center. Then the next thing is to put the color in and the styling for the link. So that will be inside the link. The link itself is actually an A tag inside this navi box. The way to call it is .navi box and then space A. Okay, it means that now I want to style the A tag, which is this A tag, inside the navy box, inside this navy box. That's how CSS work. So now the A tag is, the first thing first is I want to remove the underline, text decoration, none, and I want to set the color right. We're going to pick the color from our document, and the size is 18 point, so 18 pixel, crimson text. All right. Font size, we'll come back to the font family, 18 pixel. Okay, let's see how it looks like. Now let's separate each of them out. So each of A actually is a box by itself. So what I'm going to do is, let me show you how it looks like if I turn on this border. So each of them is a box on its own. So let's push them out, okay? We don't need to use the non-breaking space and continuously. That's actually a lame way, but although that we use it in the earlier days, but the CSS actually allow us to do this properly. All right, so we're gonna use margin, left and right, to set it to 10 pixel first. So all margin on the left side push 10 pixel. How about margin on the right side? And push it 20 pixel. Okay, that's probably too much. That's why it dropped down, because we lock the width for this whole, the box that house it, so naturally it'll just drop down if it's too much. So let's save and refresh. Yep, about right. So now let's turn off this, the red border. Let's remove it. Remove all of it, the navy box, and let's remove this as well. I simply call the red border, 1 pixel red border, as a construction line, so that we can actually see where the box is. It's actually a trick for us to view. Did I remove something wrong? Oh yeah, I removed something wrong. Alright, so that's how it is, and logo box is this. Okay, the margin left and right, so I'm going to remove this. So the top bottom is this 12 pixel, and left and right, just simply put it at 20 pixel. So we push in a bit, maybe not enough, 50 pixel. Yeah, so 50 pixel in. This one I want it to stick to the right side, so that's fine. So that is how we have our top. Now we want this whole thing to align center. There are a lot of ways to do this, but there's actually a trick. So since we're going to use it this way, I'm going to show you the trick how to do it. It's called margin 0 auto. So top down is 0 and left right auto, and then just put right 0. Don't ask me why, I don't know as well. So that's how we actually centralize the big box, especially the box that based on your body. Then seems like the alignment is a bit to the top. We can actually further fine tune this. Alright, let's put this 15, and now it looks to the center. And then the navy box as well, the one on top, margin top 35, maybe 38. Yeah, that's about right, 38 is fine. Okay, that's how we do the top navy for this. All these white edges, we want it to stick to the document. The white edges is actually from the body itself. So I'm going to remove this margin from the body, just put it to 0. So you're going to see that it sticks right to the top. That's how we do it. Okay, one part done. Okay, next thing is actually this picture plus this tagline, H1 tagline. This is a lot easier. So let me just drop another box in. And now this div class, this is the hero image box. So I simply just gonna call it hero box. Hero box has one image at the background, so I will simply just use it as a background, and then plus H1. Okay, H1 is actually a div by its own, so I'm not going to touch it. So I'm just going to leave it there, and then just going to put the text in, the tagline in. This is Wonder, the alchemist's dream of the Andalusian shepherd boy. I don't know how I come out with this. So Okay, I'm gonna put the H1 in. There's a spelling mistake here. I'm gonna fix it first. Okay, copy and then go back to the Dreamweaver and then simply paste it into H1. And then it's a break, so I'm gonna just break the line there. Okay, and save. And preview. So it's simply just gonna appear in Times New Roman again and then without doing anything. Yeah, that's how it is. So the hero box, we got to style it on top. So to style this thing, it's gonna be similar to this head box. So what I'm gonna do is I'm simply gonna just copy it and then change it. So this is how you should be coding your code as well. Don't type everything out. Yeah, you can actually copy and paste, and you can copy and paste hell a lot in HTML. So just rename to hero box. It's a block, yes. The height is different, the width is the same. So let's go back and check the height. What is the height for this? 960 by 540. 540. Okay, the background color, no, it's not a background color. It's actually a background image. Okay, and to call it, it's actually URL, and then we simply, I don't want to browse, simply just gonna put these images / hero image. That should do. Save and then refresh. So we have this. Okay, and okay, the thing that causes this is actually this H1. Okay, we can actually remove the margin for the H1 and change and style this, and this gap should disappear. Okay, how to do it is that we want to change the H1 in hero box dot hero box H1. I'm not going to change the font size. I'm simply just going to remove the margin, okay, to 0. Yep, that removes it. So now it's actually stick to the top. So I'm simply going to change the position to the bottom. So I can actually do that by doing two things. One thing is to set the position of this big box to relative first, so that the position of the big box is relative to the document. Then we want to have this position of this small box to absolute. So this thing actually, now it seems that it does nothing, but you can simply put in this now, position absolute. Then I want to start from the bottom of this box, okay, and 0 pixel. And I want to, now I show you, now that it stick to the bottom, because it's actually count from the bottom up, 0 pixel. We want to find out the actual position of this from the bottoms out. How big is this? It's actually about 40 pixel. And what about from the left? From the left is 50 pixel. So let's go back here and put it in. From the bottom is 40 pixel. From the left is 50 pixel. Pixel, make sure that you put in pixel, px. Save and refresh. Now it's in the position. Now we're just simply going to change the color. To the color is actually this same color. Okay, that's how you actually build things in this CSS. Build web page nowadays. Okay, using this CSS, you can look at the HTML code. It's actually a lot cleaner simply by having this thing set called class. Sometimes you'll see ID. So I hope that you actually learned something from this CSS. If you like my video, please click like and subscribe and hit that bell button so that whenever there's new videos updated, you will actually get notification. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.